land is a precious commodity across the globe, highly valued for its appreciating rate that rises steadily. Property investment has become a hot topic in Kenya, with everyone struggling to acquire a piece of land for themselves. With such developments, it's paramount that people know how to legally transfer that piece of land to their name to avoid legal battles about ownership and detect land scams. Now, as I told you earlier, I am happy to be joined by Elijah Mainge from AMG Realtors. Fun fact, he's a Gen Z, so this is a pretty exciting conversation. But before I give him more accolades, I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hello, Tracy.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Yes, my name is Elijah Mainge, as you stated. And I came to realize that I'm also a Gen Z. I didn't know, I thought I was in the millennial group.
It's interesting because when you're talking earlier, I told you I went to a summit and young people are asking, how do I access land? How do I own land? And this is a conversation that tonight, this is a hot conversation tonight, especially if you're a young person, you should be tuning in. But first things first, we've seen the Mavoko demolitions happening and you work in the land business. And maybe just for introductions, tell us a brief history of your company and how long you've been working there as we continue.
Amazing. So I work for AMG Realtors. AMG Realtors is a land selling company. So we deal in selling of land purely. And we've been in business since 2012. So if you are to do the quick math, that's 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so from 2012 in September all the way to where we are right now. Yes, and we've been handling business in the same way since 2012 all the way till now.
Proven track record. So what are some of the laws that regulate your company?
Amazing. So first of all, we abide by the laws that are set for the land acquisitions in Kenya. That is whereby when it comes to buying land, you have to make sure that the documents are in check. That is whether the sale agreement upon the beginning of the transaction. And as we move on and we complete the process, there is the transfer documents that lead to us transferring ownership of the property to you as our investor. Those are the general ones. But for us as a company, we have principles that guide our processes, and they have been guiding our processes ever since 2012. One of them has been that we only sell land that we own. So the property that we sell, first of all, we buy it ourselves. So we buy the property, the ownership moves from the vendor and comes to us as AMG Realtors. After we do that, that is when we subdivide it and sell to the people. So that is one. Another thing that we do as AMG, or another principle that we go by, is that once we put a price on the property, that price is inclusive of everything. That is when it comes to title delivery and title transactions, that is title processing, stamp duty, among many other costs when it comes to the land buying process. And finally, you get your title within 60 days or less, delivered to wherever you are via DHL.
Amazing. So, Elijah, we've seen the misrepresentation of ownership of land. There's been evictions, there's been demolitions. And some of these Kenyans who find themselves in this tricky situation say, we followed due diligence. Why is this happening to us? We did the land search. Why is this happening? What is it that you do differently that an ordinary Kenyan isn't doing, or what should they be doing to further protect themselves from experiencing such kinds of things?
That's a really amazing question. It's sad. From a long while ago, land has really been a tricky issue when it comes to people buying property, especially in Kenya. You find that there are people who have bought properties, paid the money, built even on the properties. That is 20 years down the line. They have even had families and they have still not gotten their title deeds. So from the get-go, it is quite a sensitive matter at hand. And one thing that we find that us as AMG we do, or as people who have been able to be successful in the process of buying and selling land, is the initial due diligence. When you've spoken about the due diligence, maybe we could define it a bit more, whereby you find, for example, in our case, there is a lot of people who would come to you and say they want to sell you property, you know, and there are a lot of people who present documents to you. But with the help of our legal team, it is very much possible to identify or to know, is this a legal piece of land? Is it valid? Now, let's take this to a smaller scale, whereby we have the common Wananchi who is trying to buy land. Do you have an advocate, for example, or a lawyer who can guide you through this process? So that is one of the things that I would say is would make it easier for people to buy property with us. Yeah.
So you're saying we need to have lawyers to also help us in doing the land search. Maybe take us a little bit about finding or getting this certificate. Now, I have the lawyer, I've paid for the search. So what next? How do I know that this property is actually the person from the person that I want to buy from?
First of all, the search should show the rightful owner of the property. There are many other documents. That is why I was mentioning the lawyer. With the help of the lawyer, there are many other documents that you're able to find out that tell the history of the property. Once you know the history of the property, it's a bit easier to approach this buying of this property, right? Because you won't have to face any disruptions, or you won't have to when you see something that is off, in terms of this history is saying that the land is actually owned by this person, but then these people are claiming to be the owners of the land, then you will know to keep away from investing in such a property. Yeah, so that is part of the process.
So I understand the history of a property is called green cards.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about the red flags of purchasing land.
Please.
How do you know that someone is genuine or not genuine?
Imagine I'll just take you back to the factors that we have talked about, because when it comes to buying of land or the genuineness, right now we have a lot of companies that are selling properties.
Yes, even SACCOs are selling land right now.
Exactly, because to be very honest, real estate is a very lucrative business, you know, and some people get in there for the wrong reasons. So one of the main things to do while looking to buy land is, again, back to that process of due diligence. If it is a company that you want to buy from, how long have this company been in business? What are their processes? We have clients who have bought from us after looking at our pages, our social media pages, and seeing clients who have bought from us from the diaspora over a period of maybe even a year, just making sure that they research us and know that truly AMG are doing the business they're supposed to be doing. So when it comes to buying of property, if you're buying from a company, have you done your research on the company? Have other people bought from the company?
Yeah.
What is the feedback on the process that they had as they were investing in property? Now, that is the company or an individual. Say now they present a property to you which you are interested in.
Yeah.
We go back to looking at the documents at hand. With the help of your lawyer, or even some companies, for example, AMG has a full-on legal team which not only represents us as the company, but also represents our clients. You are able to look through the documents, whether it's a search that you need to do or other factors that you need to confirm that are in check before now engaging into this specific property. So it is quite back to the initial stage of making sure that you look into these people who are selling, and after that, looking into the property itself and its documentation.
Now, I want to go to the frequently asked questions, but I just want to prompt our producer. Let's go to the frequently asked questions.
Sure.
You get asked as a company on land acquisition. What are some of the common questions you get?
Awesome. So some of the common questions we get is shamba? Do these properties have title deeds? Yeah, hizi shamba ziko na title deed. So once they say that, and I know a lot of farms usually say, or a lot of companies usually say, ziko na ready title, you know. But one thing to know as well, these titles, are they under the company? One important thing to look at while investing in property is truly and truly who the owner of the property is.
Yeah.
There is a lot of third-party selling of property that happens outside here in Kenya, whereby you find, for example, say you are person A, and you're selling land to me as Elijah. So we come into a deal. I give you a deposit of this specific amount, say 20%. you go, I take your property, I divide it, I sell it to my clients. So I start selling to my clients and they pay in full.
Yeah.
So they are done paying. Remember, I have only paid your deposit.
Yeah.
So I have not completed paying and the ownership is still under you. I take the money. Instead of coming to pay you, right, as Tracy, the owner of the property,
Yeah.
I go and look for another person. Let's call him Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he also has a huge piece of land. I pay him another deposit. I sell to other people. So you find these clients of mine who bought Tracy's land
Yeah.
will come for me, right? And you also come for me because I have not completed paying.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you take me to court because I've not completed the property, these people will never get their titles because it is until I completely pay you that you will transfer the documents to
you.
my name.
Okay.
Back to the ownership matter. Yeah.
So I'm intrigued because as a young person myself, I'm looking to invest into land. Of course, it's lucrative and it appreciates.
No, for sure.
And we have categories of land. So how do you value land? I hear there are prime plots and others. I don't know. Maybe just break it down for us today.
Well, I like to call all of them prime plots. Yeah, it depends on the kind of prime plot you're looking for, you know. People buy land for different reasons. There are people who buy for commercial purposes. So you find we present options such as the properties right next to the tarmac, whereby you are able to get a property where you can easily develop right away. Yeah. There are other people who buy for residential purposes. For example, we have property in Juja where we do something different than we do in other areas. That is a gated community of sorts.
Yeah.
So there are people who are interested in buying residential areas that will come for us. Another one will buy for speculation purposes, and that is why you find a lot of people. There are people who are youths, by the way, and they are not buying to build a house right away. I mean, for example, I'm 25 years of age, and I have also invested in property with AMG Realtors, and I wouldn't say I have bought so that I build my home right away, but there is that speculative aspect where I know this property of land will appreciate. As long as you have genuine ownership of the property, even when it comes to some years to come, I will still be the one who will be able to sell this property and get the return on investment, you know.
I've actually heard about this speculative aspect a lot, and young people are investing in land for the sake of reselling.
Yeah, for sure.
But another thing that I'm interested in as well is how do you value land? I said I'm looking into investing in land, and I come from Homa Bay County, and
amazing.
we are next to the lake and next to the islands. So a 50 by 100 plot would go for hundreds of thousands. So what makes a land go for hundreds of thousands or just a mere amount?
There are several factors,
Yeah.
one of them being the location. As you've mentioned, there is property next to the lake and next to the islands. Maybe more tourists would be more interested in visiting that, so it would bring more benefits to you. There is others where it is majorly speculation, so maybe you will buy just to make sure that you hold it and it will bring a benefit in future. Other aspects involve also the acquisition of the property. How was it acquired? What does the price include? For example, there are others who will sell your property and tell you this property is actually 750,000. But when you're done paying the 750, they tell you then you will add an extra, 50,000, 100,000 for title processing and other costs. So that also determines how the land is priced. But overall, you find, if you look at specific areas, the pricing is usually almost the same because the market also determines very much the price of a specific area.
Now, I want to take you back to challenges, because Kenyans, they might have the foolproof system. We have the land search, and maybe also take us through land search and people who do not know what a land search entails, and the challenges that also you might have faced, just touch on it a little bit, if that's allowed, and how to overcome it, and also how other Kenyans can overcome it.
Amazing. So I don't know whether I should start. I think I should start with how we acquire land
Yes,
ourselves.
how you acquire
right?
land, yes.
Yeah, so because one thing you find, since we major in selling land that we own, that is what we do.
Yeah.
There are people who approach us because they know we will pay the property and we will pay it in full, right? So we have a lot of people approaching us with several properties. Some of them, they are not so legitimate, they are not so honest with the properties because they just want the money.
Yeah.
Others are honest. So that is why we have a whole process. Our CEO, his name is Andrew Modegi Tau. He's actually AMG. If you look into those.
Okay.
Yeah. They say if you, you will do anything to protect your name,
I'm
correct?
telling you.
So he made sure he called the company after him so that he makes sure that the integrity of this company is really maintained, you know. So he is the one, with the help of our legal team, who goes through these people who are interested in selling land. Now we look at the properties based off of the demand of the clients who are buying with us and also of the market. So if these people are approaching us with these properties, that are in a location of interest, how are their documents, you know? So we do the search on their documents as well, and we also look into the details that we've just discussed, for example, the green card, among other documents that are very necessary in the land buying process. From there, once we verify that everything is all right, we also make sure that we talk to the family, or he also makes sure that he talks to the family selling, because you would be surprised at how many people really want to sell the land, but the land belongs to the family. So you have 5 brothers who want to sell the property, but who own the property, sorry. 4 want to sell, but one does
is
not.
declining.
Do you think we will take that property?
Tell me.
We actually wouldn't, because that would mean it would be a case for, you know, it would
you'll be following the legal way now.
Exactly, you know, it would bring a problem to our client. So even if the documents are in check, but the family is not willing to sell, only one person, we'd rather not take that.
How about community land? Does this apply to community land as well?
Exactly. So you find, for us, we have never bought community land, and it's not by chance. It's because of this process of due diligence. Before we end up putting our own money, because that is what we do first. We place our own money on the property, and then right after that, once the documents are submitted to us under our name now, transferred to us, that is when we subdivide the property and sell, you know. So it takes, to be honest, we do almost 70% of the process, just to make sure that by the time this property gets to the client, it will not be a struggle for them. They will just be easily investing in property they know is clean.
Now, Elijah, let me tell you, I am enjoying this conversation, but I know we are almost coming to the end. But before that, there are concerns by Estate Agents Registration Board of Kenya over the fragmentation of land into small plots, that's 50 by 100, and offering shared certificates. So, again, we're going back to how you acquire land, because now AMG will have the mother title. And maybe a SACCO is coming and they want to acquire a piece of land. Do you give them shared titles, or what is the process?
Awesome. So now, once we acquire the property and the mother title is under AMG Realtors, what happens is our surveyor divides this property, and it is in different sizes. By the way, you find we have various clients who approach us with interest in various sizes as well. We have talked about various purposes. We also talk about various sizes. So they find, for them, they would prefer an acre. We have property that is subdivided in acres. For others, they desire a price more affordable and a size that they could manage better. So you have, it's not a fit-all size. Exactly. Okay. So we have people who prefer the 50 by 100 plots. Now, once we divide these properties, they are each get an individual title number. That is AMG process. Exactly. Okay. So an individual title number is basically very important, because you won't need to give certificates while the people are paying, or once they complete paying. Since the land belongs to us, what happens is the title is now transferred from AMG Realtors to the specific person who has bought. So you do not have to wait for anyone else in the project to finish paying for the property.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Now, for the young people who want to own land in Kenya, particularly myself and other people who are watching us across the world, also in Kenya, and also that you said an interesting thing that there are people also from diaspora, and there have been cases of family members in diaspora sending their families in Kenya to buy land, and then when you come back after 10 years,
let me tell you, that one is very serious, by the way, because they are at a fix. They don't know who to trust. Because if you cannot trust your own relatives or your close friends who are close while you are in Kenya, who then will you trust? You know. Yes. So the issue of trust is quite an issue, and that is why again we measure with integrity. Yes, when it comes to selling our properties. You've mentioned the youths who are interested in investing in property.
And why should they invest?
And why should they invest?
Yes.
I think I was telling you as we spoke initially that we have had a societal order of how things are done. First get married, and then maybe own a car as you rent the house, then utaenda ukiongeza mashamba baadaye. But I've come to realize that things are really changing, you know. Right now, youths are more financially able to do things, right? And it's sad because the options that are there available are usually betting, where you can get, you can multiply your money per se, and then there's a lot of sherehe that goes on, you know, just celebrating every weekend. And AMG took this into account, and we presented our my youth project, and it is not one. We have several projects which are which prices range between 100,000 and 120,000. So what does this tell you? If you spend 20,000 every weekend on some on friends and some drinks, you know, how about you use 30,000 a month? We come, we do a great plan for you, and you own property, you know, for yourself, which will benefit you even in future. I believe it's King Solomon who says, you enjoy your youth, but do not waste those days, correct?
Yes.
I'm just paraphrasing.
Yes. So maybe as you're winding up, what's your last take? And I know there's so much to talk about. I wish I could have you for much longer time, but unfortunately that's the time we've been given. So especially to the youth, because look, right now the government is looking at the hustler and just empowering young people. We're the largest number anyway, and this is we are coming into the force. Look at Gen Z taking over the workspace. Gen Z. So maybe just a word of advice and encouragement as we wrap up.
Awesome, awesome. So what I would like to encourage everyone is that there is hope when it comes to investing in property. There is so much hope. It is sad because a lot of the news that we hear out here is more geared towards instilling fear or showing you that for sure there's no hope when it comes to investing in property. But if you're able to identify the correct owners, might be AMG, might be someone else who deals in selling land correctly, please go for it, because you also can invest in property and can be a great investor. At AMG, we say you become a smart investor. So they can also be, you can also be a smart investor with us. Maybe, I don't know whether I could share how they could reach us if anyone is interested.
Sure, direct them to
Awesome. So we have, you can contact us at +254 796 888 555, or check the amazing things we have at www.amgrealtors.com.